Hello everyone, you are watching a snippet of the May 1st, 2023 countdown program. Today is Monday. Bonus plot Horizons of Recklessness look at Dailymotion. The full version is on Patreon, and thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. And now, to the main thing. The higher the level of hysteria in the Kremlin, the more violent the rocket convulsions of the Russians. At about 3:30 on the night of May 1st, the invaders attacked Ukraine from strategic aircraft. 9 Tu-95s launched missiles from the Olenogorsk region and the Murmansk region, and 2 Tu-160s from the Caspian Sea region. A total of 18 air-launched cruise missiles were launched, of which 15 were shot down. The purpose of the Russians is to identify the latest air defense systems that Ukraine received from partners. This was stated by the head of the expert group on internal communications of the Ministry of Defense Vasily Pavlov. But Russian propagandists are upset by the fact that after the missile attack, there was no mass emergency power outage in any of the regions of Ukraine. Nevertheless, 34 people, including 5 children, were injured in a rocket attack in the Pavlogradsky district of the Dnipropetrovsk region. Bruises, fractures, incised and lacerated wounds, contusions, and poisoning by combustion products have been recorded in people. 2 women were taken to intensive care. In Pavlograd itself, an industrial enterprise was damaged, in which a fire broke out. In a residential area, 19 high-rise buildings, 25 private houses, 6 institutions of school and preschool education, and 5 shops were damaged. But the most important thing that the Russians fail to achieve with any brutal attacks is to force the Ukrainians to panic. But in the Kremlin area, there are already signs of neurotic reactions. The main fear is what will happen on May 9th? Will there be a massive strike by drones? Will it be a swarm or not a swarm? Or 2 swarms? Or even 3? Will Ukraine hit the Kremlin, which will provoke a violent reaction from Putin, who will strike back at Kyiv as part of his nuclear doctrine? Or will the drones only take down Moscow City, the Ostankino Syringe and the Lukta Center, that St. Petersburg corn, hated by the locals? Actually, these 3 objects are the symbols of Putinism, and if you hit them, then no UNESCO will be outraged. In the paradigm of these throwings, anxiety is also growing about the imminent counteroffensive of the armed forces of Ukraine. CNN notes that the very course of preparation for this event speaks eloquently about the level of readiness. The Kiev front line is buzzing with the movement of equipment and artillery shelling. Regular explosions hit vital Russian installations in the occupied territories. Moscow, on the other hand, is in the stage of a fight in a bar before it closes. Even the trenched fields with anti-tank pyramids show that the Russians have a poor idea of the capabilities of modern armored vehicles and high-precision missiles, which easily nullify all these obstacles. Adding to the nervousness on the front line is turbulence in the offices of the Ministry of Defense, where Putin is shuffling general shoulder straps, removing high-ranking officials such as Colonel General Mizintsev, known for his Mariupol exploits of a butcher, from office. And then there's the ghoul Prigozhin giving a long interview, reporting on the depletion of ammunition stocks and the possible exit of Wagner's prisoners from Bakhmut, a strategically unimportant city, in attempts to master which thousands of organisms were fried. But Putin was promised to take Bakhmut by May 9th, instead of Kyiv. CNN concludes, what we know about their emotional state or purpose is almost zero, and the scale of internal indecision, rivalry and disunity of Moscow is only increasing. By the way, the ravings of the propagandists who hysteria around the clock on Putin's TV are becoming more and more absurd than the poorly controlled state of growing panic demonstrates.
To be honest, I don't understand why we are all so indignant that they are training Ukrainian soldiers there. To be honest, I don't understand why we don't train Scottish terrorists there or some Welsh volunteers. Moderator, this is not our method, Mikhail Borisovic. Speaker, it doesn't matter what we consider our method and what we don't. We are at war, and we should do it if we could. Here's the problem, can we do it? But all the time to say that, there they are 10,000 there, or, they prepared 15,000 there, so the problem is that we did not prepare. So I assure you, 15,000 Scottish volunteers will train somewhere in Siberia, they will stop preparing Ukrainians.
Become our patrons now and look further in this program. As a result of undermining the railway track in the Bryansk region, a freight train with 60 wagons derailed. There was a fire, 6 to 7 wagons overturned. Near St. Petersburg, a power line support was blown up, and in the Iskidimsky district of the Novosibirsk region, the grave of a rashist, a participant in the war against Ukraine, was burned. Turkish President Erdogan said that the Turkish secret services eliminated the leader of the Islamic State. The Kremlin dictator officially becomes restricted to travel abroad. The South African authorities asked Putin not to come to the BRICS summit in order to avoid an imminent arrest. It's safer to chat on the enemy Zoom. The good Russians are off to a low start in anticipation of a system reboot. Lev Schlossberg spoke about the harmfulness of the elections at this historical moment, and Khodorkovsky called a meeting in Berlin. Russian liberals adopted a declaration and promised not to attack each other in public. True, there were no navalnists, and they did not promise anything. The plot of the Horizons of Bewilderment. Look at Dailymotion. And that is all. See the full version of the program on the Patreon resource. And thanks to everyone who is becoming our patrons right now. Hugs to all. See you on Thursday. Glory to Ukraine.